record.
Oh, but why, Steve?
Welcome everybody to the Ortelius architecture for April 24th. Let me share my screen. Get some stuff out of the way. So just kind of picking up where we left off last time. I added some issues and Utkarsh did as well. Um, so trying to keep the list small. For us to start working on. This bottom one you can ignore. This is Renovate throwing stuff out here to do dependency checking. That's their way that the app and GitHub works. So I will go over just a couple of the issues I created. The first one is the a Python function. So this one should be pretty easy for somebody to pick up and work on because it's totally isolated. You don't have to set up Kubernetes or anything like that to take the input. And the inputs are going to be like
We just lost you, Steve. Or I did.
Yeah, Steve, for some reason
Not,
you just went, we
contra-
lost you.
yeah,
Oh, there you go.
What happened?
We
he
couldn't hear you for a
disappeared.
moment,
Yeah.
but you're good now.
Okay. So we have the count and trend. So the count would be, let's say you have 5 critical CVEs out there, and that your trend will be an up arrow saying that you added like 2. So that kind of concept. Now the image down here isn't exact to match up with the description, but this is kind of I put it in there just to give a kind of a placeholder so somebody can get an idea of what I was thinking on that front. So next to like the critical 10, we'd have an up arrow or a high with a down arrow at that level. And we may want to do the plus or minus next to that. So, up 5, down 2, that type of thing at that level. Like I said, all this is going to be in a Python function, and it would return the SVG as part of that. So it's pretty isolated. There is I don't know, I have to double check, but there's this one I've used in the past. It's called Any Badge that will create an SVG from basically text that you define to it. I don't know if that would help, but creating SVGs is pretty simple, especially for text. It's simple to add in that kind of stuff. And obviously shields.io if you need some examples of what things would look like. There's hundreds of them out there that you can use as a model. So that's one of the first badging pieces that we need for the Jenkins badging. The next one is a little more complicated. It is actually the endpoint, so the Python microservice that would take in basically the build number. If I remember correctly, when Mark from the Jenkins side was showing us the demo, it was for a workflow or a project, right? It wasn't for a like the whole system. It wasn't for like the whole Jenkins server. Is that right? It was just for a specific workspace.
Yeah,
And
you're
then,
right.
okay, so in that case, there will be a Jenkins build number that we would actually use as one of the parameters over to the endpoint. And based on the build number, you can work your way backwards to the component versions or to the application, however we want to show it. Calculate the security status, which is all the parameters needed to call that the badging function, call the badging function and return the SVG at that level. So basically, this step is hooking together real data with the badging function at that level. It will need to be a new microservice. I looked at where we could shove it into another microservice, and there wasn't quite a good place to put it. There may be one that we could. There's a component item, and what was the other one? Let me see. We may be the dep package microservice. So we may be able to shove it either into this component item one or into this dep package one at that level, or even scorecard. We could hijack part of scorecard to do that, because if we go back to this one, I did not do anything with scorecard. So if we want to extend scorecard, we can do that. What do people think about adding scorecard onto that?
I think anytime we can emphasize scorecard, we should do it. Unless it's a major effort.
No,
but
the data's there.
yeah, so I think we should show it.
Count and trend. Okay, so let me go back to this one. I'm just going to go back into here and say we reuse the MS scorecard. Microservice. All right, cool. That'll come in handy. That we'll hijack part of the scorecard, because that has a lot of the logic in it to connect to the database and all that stuff. So it'll work out pretty easy on that front. And then finally, we'll need documentation on how to set up the embeddable build status plugin for Jenkins, and how do we configure the badge to connect to Ortelius on that level. So those were the three items that I came up with. Is Utkarsh on? Yep. Utkarsh, why don't you go over your couple? Which one would you like to start with?
Okay.
The MCP?
Existing core, okay. Okay, this is the later plan. Before that, can I share the architecture that I was working on?
Yeah.
Because
Yep. Let me stop sharing and I'll pass it over to you. All yours.
is my screen visible?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. So before that, so I did like one round of POC to see like how this will come up, and it was like successful. I showed like a few of the result as well to Tracy in one of the call. So then I thought like let's draw out the architecture for that, so that we detail out all the requirements and start discussing with other folks and start distributing our work, so that we can divide this and conquer parallelly. So here it's a big architecture, but it's pretty much simple. So what I'm thinking here is basically creating the CLI interface. So we'll have something called dependency bot, or whatever name we want. It will talk to it will have like a couple of parameters as well. So I'm thinking of executing the repository remotely. So just give the flag like saying that hyphen repository, and give the repository, and then basically similar to Trivy. So if you are in repository itself, then there is no need of giving the repository. So it can take a path of the current directory and start executing that, provided you already have GitHub config file in your local machine present. And here we are trying to leverage GitHub MCPs rather than APIs, because in that case, we won't be need to, let's say tomorrow we need some other APIs of GitHub. So we don't need to onboard those APIs or, write custom fast API for just doing those tasks. If we have MCP, we can, like do the prompt engineering and try to get the result, whatever we want.
So
It also,
the GitHub MCP is something that already exists. We don't have to write it. Is that correct?
we don't have to write it. Yes.
Okay,
We
nice.
don't have to write it. So this will authenticate our GitHub MCP, which will have all the visibility to APIs, which is provided by GitHub. We don't have to onboard this. Then there will be like a main core process, which is finding out the packages. It can be based on the technology we have used in the repository. It can be Python, Golang, npm, whatever. So we have a couple of processes which we have to write to basically get packages file for analysis, and the other would be to check the dependencies if there are any other new dependencies available for any of these.
On
So,
that part, can we use an SBOM? Because we'll have an SBOM for
yeah,
that contains that data.
okay, these like if you have like the latest dependencies available for any of those ones, or these
No,
package.
we would have a list of the current packages that the project's
Packages.
using for all of the different, think of it as layers. So you'd have the SBOM for the Docker, that would include the SBOM for the package JSON. So we'll have a complete SBOM that will give you all of your dependencies.
Okay, okay.
I think that'll simplify a little bit of that.
Yes, 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 of course. Then again, for these, there are the APIs that we can, leverage, which are to find out if there are any other latest dependencies available for these package dependencies. But then there is something that we can write, which is API MCP. So basically, this will so basically what will happen, any of these APIs that we are planning to use, right? Let's say SBOM, or not the APIs, let's say any of the API that are there in Ortelius, and we want to leverage those rather than specifying we want to use, any of these repositories. So if we have those kind of MCP, it will give visibility to all the APIs that are available for Ortelius. In that case, let's say we want the package details for any of the repositories. So we can ask them, I want package software bill of material for this particular repository. So internally, it will invoke the API to get the SBOM information. So if we want, we can build on top of Ortelius to leverage those APIs. Yeah, that is one thing. After we have like analyzed dependencies, the next step would be to do some analysis, do vulnerability assessment, all of these things. So again, we would need some APIs, right? All of these APIs. There are a couple of APIs that Ortelius also provide, so we can leverage those. We can use other APIs like scorecard, all those things to get all those information, and we can build the algorithm here to find out if like what is the security or a risk score of that particular build, and then maybe we can decide if we want to go ahead with making a PR or we want to abort that. So yes, this is what I'm thinking to build.
Cool. So in the if you go back down in the
Mhm.
risk analysis, that's something that we need to write as well, right?
Yeah, we need to detail this out now.
Okay.
Correct.
All right. Cool. Can you
So,
save this as a PDF and attach it to the issue?
yep, yep, yep.
Even though we know it's going to change, just so we have a reference to start from.
Yes, yes.
Awesome. That looks good.
Yeah, now that we have something to discuss around, so I'll start scheduling call. I think Zing also said to involve into this, so I'll make sure um, everybody can, get into a call and discuss on these things.
Yep. Yeah, because I think a lot of it we have in Ortelius that we just have to pull out.
Mhm.
So, and there'll be still some stuff like the requirements.txt, the Docker file, um, things like the package
Yeah,
JSON.
yeah, yeah.
Those
Correct.
things we'll still need to reference, but we'll those will be the things that we're updating at the end of the day.
Mhm. Yep, yep, yep.
Cool.
I stop sharing. Yep.
Perfect. That's looking really good, Utkarsh. When do you
Uh,
think you're gonna have your meeting to dive into that? In
mm,
like next week or the week after, or
yeah. Do you have some time on Monday? Mm,
let me see. Hang on, I get another computer. Uh, yeah, Monday's looking pretty good.
okay. Mm, okay. Is your calendar free for 11:30 a.m. or later?
Let me
I
check.
believe you are in Mountain Time, right?
Right.
Mhm.
Yes. What's
Okay.
that gonna put it like at 10 o'clock your time?
That would be 11 p.m.
Yeah. We could do it a little earlier if it works better for you.
So other folks, they're busy, so that's why.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So however you want to do it, but let me just double check. Yeah, I am pretty much open all day on Monday.
Okay.
I have one thing at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, but I think that'll be way too late for you guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, just send me an email with the time slot that you pick, and I'll send out the Zoom invite then.
Okay. Okay. I'll do that.
Just, circle around with your folks that you think are going to be able to join and
Mhm.
pick a time, and then I'll get it scheduled.
So on this topic, we did mention it to the TOC, the CDF TOC, in the context of CD events. So I just asked them, are you guys thinking about doing anything around AI, moving away from this event processor to solve the problem and maybe generate Jenkins files, for example? And they did have an interest in what we were up to. So Ben from Apple might, I think he will get involved and want to see what you're up to, because it's an area that they're interested in exploring.
Oh, that's good to know. I'll make sure that Ben is aware of the invite. because I don't think he's on our Ortelius
No,
group.
I don't think he is either.
So I'll invite him directly. So does anybody want to pick up one of those Python issues for the badging? Any takers on
Me.
Python coding?
Offer my hand up.
All right.
I'm warning you, Steve. I might break it.
Yeah. I will. So pick up that first one with generate just the Python function
Okay, cool.
of creating the SVG. It'll be a good starting point for you.
Okay, cool. I'll go check it out.
Yep. And just bug me. I'm not on Discord as much because I'm on another computer for work. So just email me if you need anything on that front.
Cool, I'll do that.
So folks, I have another call at 9 at the top of the hour, so I'm going to have to jump. But
I'm in the same boat.
but one other thing, if there's anybody who would like to work with Utkarsh to start working on a blog on this topic, it will be a good exercise because you'll have to actually digest the information and be able to kind of explain what we're doing in kind of layman terms. It would be good for us to start getting some of this information out so we can potentially, get people like Apple excited about it. So if anybody wants to take on a blog.
When do you need it done by, the blog?
Whenever you can. No, there's nothing.
It's going to be one of those that evolves over time. So
yeah, I mean, we should try to get it out, in the next month, I would say, but there's no hard stops on any of this.
what I'll do is I'll create an issue just to track the blog as well.
Jean,
It's a good way to get.
Maybe you guys want to do it together. Let me know, Tony. Okay.
I can.
That would be great because it's really going to require you digest the information.
Cool.
So we have.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I also want to get involved as well. So that's why I was thinking, yeah. Anyway, I need to understand it. So happy to, work on the blog as well.
Yeah, it's amazing when you try to take a technical architecture diagram and distill it into paragraphs for anybody to understand. It really highlights the stuff that you've missed in your architecture. It's amazing when you try to do that.
Hi, Steve. I can help to create a technical architecture diagram. Not a problem.
Perfect.
Because I joined, this is my first call. I will
Oh.
connect with it, understand the architecture. I will prepare the diagram. I will take ownership on it.
Yeah, if you could circle back around with Utkarsh, he's the one that's currently working on the architecture diagram that was just shown, so he can fill you in on the details. And so if you two can connect somehow, that would be great.
Okay, sure.
Sure.
If you could drop your email in the chat.
I will drop it, Steve, right away.
All right. And are you on our Discord channel?
No, I had to join. I will join.
Okay. All right, because that's just a nice, easy way to do, because we're in so many different time zones that the Discord channel really helps pull everybody together across the world.
Oh, I just got my ID.
Perfect. Well, I gotta drop. Thank you, everybody.
Cheers, everybody.
Thanks. Bye.
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 Thanks,
Alright,
Tim. Thanks.